We also tried like General Faz Hamid.
Because if the allegation on General Faz is that he misused his position, Faz's best defense should be it was chain of command.
You had a character chairman in your time, Justice Javed.
He was in position before us and he remained after us as well.
I would like you to give a personal message to our audience.
That I really hope, and that is the only hope for Pakistan, is that Imran succeeds in his mission.
Hello and very warm welcome from our London studios. I'm Sohail Qureshi with my program Sharp Edge, and today I'm interviewing Barrister Shahzad Akbar, who has been a special advisor to Prime Minister Imran Khan from July 2020 to January 2022 in Pakistan on accountability and interior. Barrister Shahzad Akbar has been a vocal force in accountability, and he dealt with a number of anti-corruption and accountability cases in Pakistan. However, after the ousting of Prime Minister Imran Khan in 2022, he left Pakistan and came to United Kingdom, where he's practicing as a barrister, and for some, he is in some kind of a political refuge. So today, I am going to ask him all the difficult and complex questions that our audience would like to hear. What happened to the anti-corruption and accountability drive in Pakistan, and especially what brought Imran Khan's government to its knees and finally ousting. So very warm welcome. Come again, Shahzad Sahib. Thank you very much for gracing our studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we just start from your journey to United Kingdom. I just want to go for a normal flow that how your life shaped you and where your bike background is, and then we'll take it from there.
I came to UK to study initially. I did my law here. I did my master's LLM in international law. Then I did my bar at law. Then I worked a little and went back to Pakistan. And then I worked in Pakistan for 20 years, and then fate brought me back to Britain.
Yeah.
It's a very short version,
Mm.
a short biography, a
Yeah.
three-liner. I spent about, I think, 20 years of my professional career in Pakistan, which started with being a prosecutor and working in NAB. Then I did criminal corporate practice for a while. Then I got myself involved in human rights work, which I did for almost 10 years. We led a campaign against drone strikes in Pakistan, which involved basically, highlighting what is going on in Pakistan in drones, especially in context of war on terror. That's where my association with Khan Sahib came. We worked together because at that time he was the only politician in Pakistan who was very categorically vocal against war on terror and the drone strikes. So invasion.
The rally to northern to the frontier.
Yes, so that rally, so that we did together. I was the one who was coordinating all the international people, Pink, Code Pink and Reprieve and
Hey.
other people who came from US. So that was my association with Khan Sahib and PTI. And when he came into power, when Khan Sahib asked me, I said, well, I will be happy to, it will be an honor to actually work with Imran Khan. But accountability in Pakistan, you really have to be committed to the idea, but it has a lot of challenges. And we saw those challenges. But anyways, this is how I got into politics.
And your journey with Imran
With Imran Khan as well.
and PTI. Accountability is the soul of any society, and unless or until there's accountability, no country can really progress. And I know this National Accountability Bureau, very infamous institution, started by Nawaz Sharif, and then Pervez Musharraf took it because that kind of sloganeering really rhymes well with people. Because let's get the looted money back and all that. So were you a part of that kind of a frenzy when you wanted to start this?
See, the whole process of or the journey of accountability and anti-corruption in Pakistan, unfortunately, has started from the military rule. So if you look at Ayub's era, the legislation, special legislation made was to oust certain politicians which were not liked by the establishment. And from that day, the military has always used the mantra of accountability and anti corruption to come into power. And this is when the people rejoice and say, now our saviors have come. And this has been happening in Pakistan for a very long time. Uh, Whereas politically, Imran Khan, or on the political scene, Imran Khan was the only politician who started a party with the slogan and the name of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, which basically means Accountability and Justice Party. So which was basically for the first time a people-led accountability process. And I think that is the reason that people were inclined, because they have the experience of being used by the military establishment time and again, how they use accountability mantra. And even this time, from we can say post 2018, when PTI formed a coalition government, we were never at liberty to freely legislate and implement fully agenda of Imran Khan or accountability. Then we had a very untrustworthy in form of Pakistan Army. I mean, this is on record where Imran Khan said that General Bajwa and the army, they really want accountability, and they actually have been telling
Same page.
on the same page.
Yes.
So the same page theory, and General Bajwa is on record as chief of army staff, where he will be, calling all the analysts and journalists to his drawing room and telling them how corrupt the other politicians were. So I think for a while we were led to believe that this institution is also sincere about true accountability. Now we were heading towards the same destination probably, but with two different motives. Imran Khan wanted accountability for the sake of accountability. Army or General Bajwa wanted accountability so that he could prolong his own rule, or army's hybrid rule in Pakistan. Imran Khan's drive for real accountability to subdue the other politicians, to align them against Imran Khan and then switch the table. And this is what exactly happened. So in the process, I just quickly complete. So in the process, I think one of the victim of all this process was the idea of accountability.
Yeah, I think as far as the sloganeering is concerned, the drive is concerned, I think any populist politician would say the same. But I could sense a sense of naivety there, that even though you guys went into bed, so to say, with the Pakistani military, and which probably was the right thing to do, because after all, this is the Pakistan army and Pakistan military establishment. But how could you let your guards down and not to understand the history, how things have been, and how people, the politicians, were deceived?
I think this is what is commonly believed and maybe sometimes alleged against PTI or Imran Khan, that we were in bed with the army and this is how could we let our guard down. I think it's not that as simple. First of all, we were not in bed. I think we were sitting in the drawing room, probably leading, because if we were in bed, then Imran Khan's government would not have fallen. Then we would have agreed to everything that General Bajwa wanted and easily could have prolonged our tenure in the government. Anyone who would want to come into power, they will have to negotiate their power system with the military, because there is a hybrid rule. We did not make it, we inherited it. You'll have to sit down with the army chief and DGF-ISI and say, okay, these are our priorities. Are you going to, work with us or not? And they will, of course, tell you that we will work with you. And this is how you start your journey. It's during the journey where you come to realize, actually, hang on, they are not really serious about it. Or now I'm finding this issue and that issue. And then you basically decide your future course. And that's the point where Imran Khan actually stood to his ground and principles, and he will not bow down to whatever Bajwa wanted. We saw that time and again that most of the accountability institutions are actually overtaken by army institutions. So those sorts of interferences, and then we saw interferences with judiciary, which actually now the judges are writing. Even during our time, the ISI was controlling high courts and the accountability courts. So there was too much meddling with the agenda going on, and that's what became the reason, among many other. This is not just accountability.
But Shahzad, similar kind of narrative was played by the PMLN when Nawaz Sharif was ousted, and on a what to many very frivolous case, um, from where it started, from the anti-corruption to eventually how Nawaz Sharif was ousted in a very unusual, inorganic manner. So, what would you say to that?
You see,
Was that a fair trial, Nawaz Sharif?
there are two things. I don't think Nawaz Sharif's case itself was flimsy. They are solid grounds, and I mean, we both are sitting in London.
Yeah.
If you like, we can take a ride to Avonfield Apartments, and there you standing in front of £100 million worth 4 apartments, which are owned by the family till today. But till today, they cannot give a money trail for that. So, but we cannot call it flimsy. Now, we come to the point that how that was used to oust Nawaz Sharif. Yes, that's a historical fact. I don't have to sanctify it. But what happened was, again, Nawaz Sharif, this has happened to Nawaz Sharif not the first time. This was probably, I think, the fourth time it happened to him. And that's what I was saying earlier in my program, that the power structure in Pakistan is such. I mean, right now, I had my sympathies maybe for a bit for Nawaz Sharif and the family as well. Okay, we fell to the same, trap. They fell 4 times. But now look what are they doing. So right now, the daughter and the brother are enjoying all the perks and privileges, and they're being part to the same cycle where the army is basically ruling, and they are just happily playing the puppet. What we need to do as a nation, if we really want to rise, we need to align all the politicians. They need to say no, because the army only, the institution only takes the power when the politicians become weak, and they provide that environment that they can rule. I mean, if the army really wants to rule, then let them impose martial law. Let the world see the real thing in Pakistan.
But Pakistan is in a very important geopolitical situation.
Used to be, not anymore. Still is.
It can change.
Still in front. I mean, I can say yes, still because of the Indian Ocean and China and all that. But
The geography, purely because of the geography.
the location.
That's right. And 250 million people, fifth largest population, and under seventh nuclear power. This is not something that anybody can ignore in the world. Maybe contrarily, and it will have its own phases, like you see in Cento, and War on Terror. And it's becoming a multipolar world. Now, the question is this: that I know that you have mentioned army and all that, and we all know that there is a deep state in every country. Pakistan needs a very strong army for its national integrity. We have seen what's happening to Syria and Iraq and Libya, where there's no army. Is it justified to malign the entire army for the doing of only few, so to say, in your word, few?
You see, as you said, taking a cue from you, you say that there's a deep state in every country. I agree totally. There's a deep state in every country, in every system. But does that deep state, for example, here in Britain where we're sitting, where there is a deep state as well, does that deep state has much impact on your and my life as a resident or citizen in this country? The answer is no. For their own citizen, they do not behave the way our deep state, which is not a deep state anymore, it's a naked aggression. Because just 3 weeks from now, where we're sitting today, that naked aggression opened fire on its own citizen, having killed confirmed 12 citizens, 139 missing, and about 40 lethally wounded. Now tell me, which deep state does that? Now we have come to another point. It's not a deep state anymore in Pakistan. And when we say we cannot malign the whole army, actually the problem with Pakistan army is that the whole army doesn't matter. It's actually just a handful people. And it's that command system which actually controls all the power. And that's what actually drives the whole force. Because if you talk about whole army, young officers in the army, the Jawans in the army, they're very pro what Imran Khan says. They're not part of PTI. They're not part of Imran Khan's, force or anything, but they actually resonate with what he says, what he actually wants. And the state of affairs in Pakistan is that the, even the retired generals, their pensions have been blocked. People are being court-martialed. People have been, denied medical facilities, ex-army veterans, just because they raised voice for, PTI or a political party or a political agenda. So it's not a state of, I mean, it's what's happening in Pakistan is not normal. I think I will strongly disagree when we say what happens to Imran Khan, happened to Nawaz Sharif, happened to Zardari and Benazir. I think that analogy is not 100% true, because what is happening to now Imran Khan is not just happening to Imran Khan. It is actually happening to whole of Pakistan, because that force is being used against now every common person. I mean, if it was if it was just a political tussle or tug of war, I will agree with you. But it's not. Now that whole aggression is against its own citizens.
I agree to an extent that the quality, if one can say, or the quantity of these human rights violations against public at large, it has transcended anything in the past. That's and also the furore or the public anger and anguish, it has gone beyond the border. And I think um, credit must be given to Imran Khan and to your party to bring these vital issues of resetting the civil military relationships and a new social contract with the citizen, with its state, and all that. So that's agreed. But going forward, what do you think? In this line of collision, it appears that your party and the Pakistan military or army, so to say, is going where is going to lead to.
I think it's going to lead to the slogan what Imran Khan has given before going to prison, which, if I translate to English, what he said in Urdu, Hakiki Azadi is the real democracy, real freedom. And the real freedom is when the forces will be loved and respected by the citizens once again, once they are doing their professional job. Their job is, for example, there's no, it's not ISI's job to decide who will contest the election or not. It's not ISI's job to decide that, this political party is good or that political party is bad. It is not ISI's job to run NAB. It's not ISI's job to put cameras on, sitting high court judges' bedrooms, or to pick up their family members and torture them to get certain decisions. So when all that is finished, I think this is when we move forward. This is when we sit down with other politicians and say, now let's, think about, if you want to amend the constitution for whatever objective, we can do that. And the governing should go back to people. The problem right now is none of the political parties who even think now they are governing. I mean, just look at the structure of the government right now. This is a government where the prime minister does not have the interior minister of his own. The interior minister is from the army party. I mean, he doesn't belong to any party. And same is this structure in the provinces as well. I think this is the point. One big credit that goes to Imran Khan, and I was actually in Birmingham a couple of days ago, where some people, PTI people, were asking me this one question: that is there any hope of Imran Khan coming out? And my answer to them was that I would lose the hope if Imran Khan comes out on army's terms. I have hope if Imran Khan stays in prison but fights for principle, because the only hope for Pakistan is in Imran Khan. I do not see any politician now or in future who can stand up against this tyranny and call spade a spade, because Imran Khan has that kind of strength that he can face the worst adversary as he's facing right now, uh, at the cost of his own life, that he can actually lead us, the nation, to the real freedom.
Do you feel some sympathy for Nawaz Sharif and his family, that what kind of accountability, or so to say, accountability they went through, and similarly for Zardari? And is there any possibility of some kind of a charter of democracy?
I think this is also once again a big fallacy, that when we talk about charter of democracy, we somehow come to the conclusion about the Benazir and Nawaz Sharif and Zardari. You see, if they were really wronged, and they have been wronged. Don't take me wrong. I mean, in sense that they have been wronged by the army and in power structure. But fate gave them opportunity and chances time and again to prove that actually it's not a personal enrichment agenda that they're working on, but they want something real in Pakistan. Then they would not and they should not have accepted the terms again whenever they've been thrown a bone and they just jump on it and get into power. They should have actually fought for principles, because if Nawaz Sharif, as you're saying, as everyone believes, that if Nawaz Sharif was wrong, then he was victim of false accountability. So who was doing it? It was army, right? It wasn't Imran Khan in 2017. It wasn't Imran Khan in 90s and all that time. And take out Nawaz Sharif's own speeches where he talks about what army has done to Pakistan. Then why Nawaz Sharif has now, you know, he's sitting quiet. He's I don't think that he actually is allowed to even leave for that matter, Pakistan. But his brother is
He was
Prime
in
Minister.
Switzerland with Mariam Nawaz.
He might have been given one-time permission. You never know. So his son, his daughter is chief minister. His brother is prime minister in the worst form of the hybrid. This is now ultra hybrid rule. So if they were victim, then right now there is no chance for them. They're providing those legs for the military hybrid rule to stand on. They should just withdraw.
Just one more question on this particular topic, and then we move on to much kind of microscopically examine the areas of your influence and actions. Uh, Politics is always like a game of thrones. You need to be brave like a lion and sly like a fox. Do you think Imran Khan miss that kind of magic because the it is all about alliances, collaboration? Try to read the cricket pitch in Imran Khan's term correctly, because the buck doesn't stop with the army chief, whether as per your admission, was it Bajwa or any other army chief, because they are not the instigator of that agenda. There must be some other behind the scene actors like World Order.
See, I mean, first of all, I think people who like to push Imran Khan to become politician, they actually fail to understand that he is the antithesis. He's not a politician. He's not your ordinary politician. He's not doing politics for the sake of politics. He is not professional politician, who would basically want to just be in power. He actually feels that he need to do something for Pakistan, and he is actually pursuing his path. So for that, if he really has to form an alliance with a partner who thinks like him, he would. But right now, what are the options? I mean, we cannot ask him to sit down with Nawaz Sharif and Shahbaz Sharif or Zardari for that matter, who are part and parcel of this system that is going on. So if there are other people who are there, I mean, he's talking to Jamaat Islami, he talks to the nationalist parties as well, but he cannot be asked to talk people who are part of the very much system. Those people actually, if they really want political dialogue, they need to first of all get away from that coalition they have, come into open, and then form the coalition with Imran. So Imran would do that. I think it is our fortune that Imran Khan is not a typical politician, because if he was, then that there would go your hope.
I think in politics, one has to tread your way between pragmatism and principles. And
Imran chooses the principles. He is not a,
yes,
he will never go for
but
pragmatism.
I think there are ground reality. But let's moving swiftly on from that point. Um, I think that a lot of people, a lot of pundits are saying that there were two major issues that happened to your government. One was this kind of alternative pan-Islamic movements between between amongst Mahathir Mohamad, Erdogan, and Imran Khan, to raise an alternative uh, to the Arab spearheading of Islam. And the second was the appointment of DGISI. I know one is international and one is kind of local. I would like you to just give your take on it.
I think, first of all, a lot of people talk about Imran. If Imran was still in power today, he would be probably the only Muslim world leader who will be talking on the issue of Palestine as people of faith believe what needs to be talked about. And in my mind, there is no doubt about that. Pan-Islamism, I think this is the idea or romance that we all had during our student days, if we were, reader of history. And Imran is a PPE graduate of Oxford. So, yes, there were discussions and talks with our other Muslim countries like Malaysia. Mahathir came into power again. There was Erdogan in Turkey. And Imran Khan was very enthusiastic about having, and it's not a exclusive club, so to speak, but he wanted to have the OSCE a more robust,
vociferous,
voice on the world stage.
more robust.
And he wanted the Muslim and especially Arab world to have more political weight internationally when it comes to political issue, rather than, for example, I mean, if you look at, for example, if anything happens to an Arab citizen, and especially a royal family from any of the Arab states, that person gets away like this, right?
Yeah.
But if there is any political issue of the Islamic world, they don't use that weight for that matter. And I think that's what differentiates Imran. But I don't think that he is a victim of any of that. There were a lot of rumors created from within the government, and when I say from within the government, there was General Bajwa himself doing it, and they played a lot of games to create an image of Imran, which actually is not what Imran is, especially in our friendly countries.
Where does Donald Lu come in? And where do you think the originator, the genesis of this entire crisis?
You see, the
That
decision
is very vague.
I mean, now when we look at the revelations from many actors who were part to this conspiracy, there are now on public record that the decision to oust Imran's government was made by the army chief himself.
Okay, not
Uh,
America anymore.
no,
Because that had
no,
been
no,
the narrative.
no, but that is still the narrative. So I mean, I think you see, first the decision was made by Bajwa. Then General Bajwa and Army and ISI work on building this narrative within the American government that Imran Khan is basically the problem that we have in the country, and if he continues, this is not good for American interest. And there comes that meeting of Donald Lu where the cipher came, and there is an American.
That's Majid,
So the Asad Majid's cipher, the communication, and now there is you have. I mean, no one can deny. I have seen the cipher myself. This meeting took place where Donald Lu conveyed what he conveyed, and it was reported. You have.
And it's not denied by the U.S. government.
No, it's not denied by the U.S. government at all.
That's right.
And now it has been reported by an American newspaper as well. They did a series of stories on that. And till today, I do not see government of Pakistan or army issuing them any defamation notice, so to speak. So that fact has come out. So what Imran Khan said that this was a foreign conspiracy, that was true. But who was behind that foreign conspiracy? More details came out in the last 2 years, and now it is quite clear General Bajwa, ISI, and everyone basically led to that. Now, coming to your second question about the role of the how DGISI, I think DGISI was also it wasn't as big an issue as again they made it to. It was simply the principal question. For example, if the boss of ISI is Prime Minister, then he is the one who decides who gets to be the ISI chief.
Well, we agree that
Yeah, it's on papers.
yes.
But that's the and this was the point when the relation between Prime Minister and Army Chief had really fallen off. So that's the time when they were not actually agreeing to each other. General Bajwa wanted to remove Faz because he wanted to bring a new ISI chief. Imran Khan knew exactly why he wants to change the army chief. So the narrative that Bajwa tried to build at that time was that you want General Bajwa, General Faz to be army chief, therefore he needs to command a corps. Now, if Imran Khan really wanted General Faz as his favorite to be next army chief, he would have agreed to it, right? But that's not the point. Imran Khan's point was that if I want certain person to have that continuity as DGISI, because I want him, because at that time, if you remember, in the regional context, there was an Afghan issue as well. There was transition in Afghanistan. General Faz had that infamous the tea thing in Kabul. So that was the time. And Imran Khan's argument at that time was that at this crucial moment where ISI and the DGISIs, were seeing that transition because it has a direct impact on Pakistan. And during that time, the Taliban were asking us to take TTP people back into the country. And our cabinet, we had two briefings with DGI, DGMI, MO, Army Chief, where this option was negotiated, and our cabinet members vociferously uh, rejected this idea because we discussed this. So all these things had to be put into works, and we had to find a solution. And at this crucial juncture, if you remove the DGISI, that's something which Prime Minister has to decide, and Prime Minister did not agree. And because General Bajwa had some other plans, because he wanted Faz removed, he wanted Nadeem Anjum come in, because he actually had made a whole plan of his own, maneuvering of that time. So, that became the reason. And then, of course, it was played out. I mean, Army Chief will, which Army Chief calls all the anchors and journalists to his house every evening and gives them a debriefing? You should say this is the narrative that has to be built. And all these anchors are actually on record that Bajwa used to call. I look at Hamid Mir, Malik, they all have, said, they were fed this information from
Do
General
you
Bajwa.
think General Bajwa will be also tried like General Faz Hamid? Because if
It should be. It should be. In my view, it should be. I've said in my vlogs as well. Because if the allegation on General Faz is that he misused his position, Faz's best defense should be it was chain of command. And he should come in open, because there are two credible piece of information right now which actually is best defense for Faz. First is Maulana Fazlur Rahman, who is on record. He said that in an interview to Nadeem Malik recently, that before the vote of no confidence, a while before, not immediately, like 3-4 months before, General Bajwa and General Faz had a meeting with Maulana Fazlur Rahman and Shahbaz Sharif, and there were people from People's Party, I think Zardari or someone else, and they were all there, and other smaller parties were there, where they were told that Imran Khan has to go through a vote of no confidence. And they were told to bring vote of no confidence. Actually, PMLN, some leaders are on record to say they oppose the idea of vote of no confidence. So there you go. I mean, so this was not only Faz. Faz was using this,
it can't be only one person.
Exactly. Yeah. Army doesn't work like that. Everyone knows that. And the second statement is from the defense minister himself, Khwaja Asif, who is also on record saying that Faz and Bajwa both offered them to remove Imran and bring them back 1 year after PTI has come into power. So therefore, if the allegation on Faz is, in misusing his power, his co-conspirator is, being let off the hook.
Yeah, they say the conquerors will always write the history.
Yes.
At that time, that is the conquerors Janta, and of course, Yunta. They will write the.
I will disagree, because right now, what has happened is, in the past, there was one newspaper, when some historian will write the history, he will look into the archives and newspapers of that time which could be controlled. In today's age and time, information technology, you have so much alternate forums, like what we're talking about now. You have, our, open spaces, Twitter, YouTube, and all these vloggers. So, I mean, right now, when the historian will write something about today's age, today's politics 50 years from now, I mean, believe me, things will be much more different than a Victor's version of.
Okay, you were really the main spearhead of accountability drive of Imran Khan, so roughly about 18 months. So were you able to bring some kind of positive change, sometime recovery of the corruption money and all that, those 18 months?
I think the time was longer than 18 months. It was 3.5 years.
3.5. Okay, sorry.
But I think to bring a really big impact in that period is not possible. But we had some quick fixes. So, for example, what new thing had started during Imran's time was, for one thing was, if there was anything wrong, Imran Khan will always order a public inquiry, and that public inquest or inquiry would lead to making the findings public. So we had sugar investigations, we had petroleum investigations and wheat scandal, and every time it was made public, because the true accountability, because when you look at criminal cases or court cases, it has a process of its own. A government minister or a government does not lead the prosecution. It's a
It has
system,
to go the legal
legal process.
prosecution process, right?
But what brings people's accountability is that if you have commissions, those commissions where inquiry is done, it is made public as per the law, that that leads to a longer impactful accountability. So that is one big dent. And in terms of recovery, there was a lot of work done by accountability bureau and especially anti-corruptions in Pakistan, because even if you look at the UNCAG, the UN Convention Against Corruption, the model it gives is that it actually strengthens, especially in a devolution led country like Pakistan, where the provinces have their own mechanism. So for that sort of recovery, the anti-corruption,
Power,
devolving the power.
still.
So we made so what we were able to achieve, and I think, for example, when I was made advisor to on accountability and interior, and one of the organizations we had was FIA, which is now in very famous. So when I looked at in FIA, there was a requirement of training, having better investigators. But what I saw that time was that FIA was the worst paid organization in terms of law enforcement. But I will have so many, people approaching me, our own members, to have police officers appointed
In FIA.
in FIA. And then I would question them that why you want to leave police and come into FIA, because you will be getting 3 or 4 times less salary and perks. The answer was very obvious. It basically the corruption itself, the power. So first thing that I got approved from cabinet for FIA was, at that time, we raised their salary to the level of all of this. So there is not this, if you attract people, because before me I had the model of motorway police. So when motorway police in Pakistan started, all of a sudden we saw this new police which was not corrupt. And the reason behind that was that they were actually
Economics.
economic. So they were compensated handsomely. So we did that. So we did that with NAB, we did that with FIA, and now the result of that is that 3.5 years later, our party suffered most from these decisions. So I don't know if we did the right thing or not.
You had a character chairman in your time, Justice Javed, right?
Yes.
So
Not our choice. He was in position before us and he remained after us as well.
so there was a scandal with a lady, and to many that was not a very good sight to watch. And I think one of the accusatory fingers is on that how could he survive with such a scandal, especially people like yourself and Imran Khan and many of your party members who are Western educated,
There are two
very
questions
high
there.
moral level.
There are two things. So first of all, you need to look into how a chairman NAB is appointed and how he can be removed. So a prime minister has zero control over chairman NAB.
There could be easily sexual harassment case on him.
So there was fired. No,
But then,
now,
I mean, that automatically means that
No,
he
but-
would be suspended.
but now I will ask you a question. No, he won't be suspended, because the position of chairman NAB is constitutionally protected position as a judge of Supreme Court. So to remove him, the only thing that you can do is file a reference before the Supreme Judicial Council. And references were filed at that time by that time opposition. Now, I question you. Imran Khan was deposed when 2022 April. Since then, we had many revolutionary judges, including Qazi Faizi as Chief Justice of Pakistan, the champion of human rights and women power and whatnot. What have the government done against Javed Iqbal from that time till now?
So that reference is still there, but it's not been followed up.
Just forget about PTI and Imran Khan. The question is, what has PMLN or the army or the Supreme Court has done in last 2.5 years? It's been 2.5 years that Imran Khan has been ousted. So what have they done? So that gives you the answer that the whole thing was basically a political motivated incident, And the second fact is that Justice Sahab was protected by the institution then, now, and for time to come.
Okay. You have replied my answer.
Truthfully.
You've tried question. You replied my question, but not answered fully. I'm not fully convinced. Well, let's moving on from
No,
that.
but see, that I put the facts in front of you
Yes.
to say now you can say. So you're saying what we could have done is basically there was a reference that was moved to Supreme Judicial Council.
But I think the vigor that needed at that time by the sitting prime minister, I think there was a lack of it, and that is what I see. But I'm sure that it's just an opinion. The other, a second accusatory finger on Imran Khan Nab and probably yourself is this Malik Riaz of famous Barrier town, and especially that deal. So please tell it to our audience, both English speaking and non-English speaking, what actually happened. What were these deal about? This Abdul Qadir University
I think
and all that.
Abdul Qadir University has nothing to do with NAB or accountability. It's a trust-led university for which the land was, I think, gifted because I'm not privy to the gift by Malik Riaz, and I believe that Barrier Town does a huge philanthropy work as well, like many other businesses. So they can answer for that themselves. As far as the NCA settlement is concerned, the name says it all. I'll explain it how. So first of all, I mean, the case is right now before accountability
And
court.
the National Crime Agency of the UK.
It's National Crime Agency of the UK. The family had a settlement with them, and the family's money was frozen in UK. Then after the settlement,
£190 million.
it was roughly 190 million pound because there was some property and the cash was 140 or 50 million pound. I mean, till today the NAB does not have the full facts and they actually misleading the facts. I will tell you the facts, and I'm sitting in UK. If I'm wrong, and she can ask me. So National Crime Agency had frozen the funds under suspicion, like they had frozen funds of Shehbaz Sharif and his son. After investigation, the family entered into a settlement under the UK law. That settlement led to release of their funds to them, not to government of Pakistan,
Actually, to
the family.
with some penalty or something.
There was no penalty.
No penalty.
There was no penalty and there was
But
no
those
fine of
funds-
guilt.
But those funds came here
Not from Pakistan.
but through some illegal or
No,
shady
not at all. Not at all.
through the proper channels.
That's not the issue. The issue was asset freezing order has nothing to do how the funds came and not came. There were funds here in certain bank accounts. National Crime
Yes.
Agency started an inquiry into that, and they actually have power under 2004 law to freeze money for certain period and then ask questions. So they did that. They asked questions. At that time, the suspicion on them was that it was maybe linked to the land deal in Karachi, because at that time there was a Supreme Court case going on as well. Then in 2019, the Supreme Court case eventually got settled, and there was a settlement made for 460 billion. Now, whatever happens with Pakistan, NCA is not subject to that. They make their own independent decision. They have their own
Whatever the jurisdiction is.
Then National Crime Agency in 2019 entered into a settlement with the family, and under that settlement, that money was released to them. Those papers were produced in the Supreme Court as well, where the money is released back to the family, and then family, because they already had a settlement in Pakistan in the Supreme Court to pay 460 billion in fine. So therefore, they decided to move their money to Pakistan to pay into that account. So that money never went to government of Pakistan, from NCA. So had it been a recovery, the NCA will pay to government of Pakistan, and then of course government of Pakistan can put it in their own exchequer.
Yeah.
But the money was sent from the family's account into the Supreme Court's account, which was for the settlement, and the money still lies
It's still there.
It's still there. It never went. So then because from 2018 till 2019, Government of Pakistan, the Asset Recovery Unit or NAB, we were dealing with NCA not only in this matter, every other matter of any other Pakistani. And because they provide details to us about information and accounts and all that, and we share information under a agreement, they asked us to sign a non-disclosure agreement. That non-disclosure agreement,
as a government of Pakistan.
as government of Pakistan, that you will not disclose any personal information to any third party, and that is a 3-page long non-disclosure agreement, which is a standard thing in UK, which happens in many agreements to a third party because there was a third party interest involved. So we agreed, fine, we do not object to your settlement. And in that, because there was a summary put by me to the cabinet as well, in which I had given the whole background and I explained that we are not objecting to it because we do not have any evidence to prove or to say or to object to this settlement, number one, or to even claim this money to be of our money, to have taken or looted or corrupt, because we do not have, if you do not have evidence, how can you prove that? So we gave this, and then cabinet did not prove, they did not sanction the agreement, which was NCA's agreement with the family, because that was out of our jurisdiction. What cabinet approved was the non-disclosure agreement, and that is the whole matter.
It is about the sealed envelope came and the.
It's all a narrative which was made by the government. So, for example, I'll give you another example how these people lie. Rana Sunaullah's smuggling case, this heroin case on him.
Was it justified?
I'll come to that in a second, but how can it be justified? Rana Sunaulla made press briefings in press conferences when they came into government in 2022 that the case against him, the heroin, was planted on him by me and Imran Khan. Now, last week, he gave another interview where he's saying that that heroin was basically planted on him by General Faz. Now, one person is making a statement, once it was me, now it is General Faz. How can I believe him? As far as, that case was concerned, of course, what he's saying now is because the venom against us is now gone. But
what do you think? Who did it?
I don't know who did it, but the charges were flimsy. And when the ANF DG came to briefing
in the cabinet,
there was a because it was a question raised by cabinet members that what is this? Because some cabinet members were like, I mean, this doesn't sound right. And they actually asked me a question as well, and I did many ANF cases as well as a lawyer, as a defense lawyer as well. And when I looked at the case and I said, well, this looks like a typical plant case, like you planting something on that. There were many other cabinet members like Fawad Chaudhry, Shiri Mazari. These are the people who objected to it. Faisal Wada, he was very happy with this thing. His idea was that this is how you fix these people. So a brigadier, I think probably from ANF came to answer the questions of cabinet members. DG. No, I don't. The DG did not come. The DG came, but it was a brigadier who gave us the briefing. DG probably come as well. But when he gave the briefing, he was grilled by the members and he ran away. I mean, literally, he could not satisfy the cabinet members. So yeah, we objected to it. But as ANF was a prosecuting and investigating agency, entirely run by uniformed officers of Pakistan Army, it was not our.
So the cabinet or Imran Khan or yourself, you genuinely believe that what they're telling you is the truth, and it was not like a ticking time bomb against you, because this whole case was, as you rightly said, very flimsy. One can.
No, but see, the thing is, it's a prosecuting agency, an investigating agency, which is the ANF, and they say no, our case is right, and we caught him red-handed. So how can a cabinet say close this case? Because that will be illegal. If cabinet says close this case or open this case, both are illegal.
So it was your briefing. Moving back to Malik Riaz, and you had a personal dealing with him. I know there are lots of cases against him in the
and myself as well.
Yeah.
I'm a proclaimed offender.
Yes. But Malik Riaz for the land grabbing and giving corruption to people in the government, including the army generals sitting and otherwise, and giving a gift to the president Zardari, and there's lots of things going on. So what is the reality to that? I mean, you've been.
But as you're saying, these are mere allegations, and I'm a man of law, so there is no. I mean, I think most of these cases are not even cases. I don't think there is any registered case because during our time, NC actually had asked us, National Crime Agency had asked us what are the cases against them. And we wrote a letter as asset recovery unit because it was a coordinating unit. We wrote a letter to all law enforcement agencies and saying what are the cases against the family itself. And what the response came as was there was a Karachi case investigation going on, the Karachi barrier land case, and I think there was one other matter of one Hyde Park pending in NAB as an inquiry, and these cases. So I think rest of the things that you're saying, they are just
one of the plaintiff, Shafiqur Rahman, who probably you might know, who has taken Malik Riaz to the court and especially against this Toyota land in case in Rawalpindi. And I have seen a lot of procession by the local people against Malik Riaz. So those cases were not in a NAB or in any police or any.
I don't know who this person is, but there were a lot of people who I was told were probably blackmailers who were trying to blackmail, extract some money from him. But this is a matter between them and Malik Saab. They can deal with it.
I see. Okay. So, because on one hand, Malik Riaz has brought so much to the people of Pakistan with very good, very high class kind of land developments and houses. On the other hand, everywhere there is a kind of a bad name. So, one want to know that what is the myth and what is the reality.
I thought you would be asking me questions about the TT scandal and how Shahbaz
Talk to
Sharif,
that in a minute.
how Shahbaz Sharif, because these are the things I talked about. These are the things I investigated. But what people think about Malik Riaz or not, and that's not my.
So, okay, let's moving on. No, that is, and I must say that you've been very thorough and very transparent. And before this interview, you told me very clearly that you can ask any question, and that's why, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. So while you were there 3.5 years, and we know that the current Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was almost going to be charge sheeted before actually the table turned. So why did it take so long? And what was this TT case?
Actually, it didn't take long. I think the TT case, first of all, there are two different cases we're talking about here. The one where he was going to be charge sheet was a case of Ramzan money laundering in Ramzan sugar mill, where they used the sugar mill, for money laundering. And the other case was the TT case was it's a personal enrichment asset case of NAB, where telegraphic transfers were used to justify the personal enrichment. So because I don't know how much time we have, but to put it very
4 more minutes.
okay, so to put it very in plain terms, is that the personal wealth in of Shehbaz Sharif family, and it's not the big Sharif family, it's Shehbaz Sharif, his sons, daughters, and wife. Their personal wealth grew multi hundred times in span of 10 years. So when he became the chief minister in 2007 or 8 it was, until 17, 18, those 10, 12 years, there was abnormal growth in their family assets. And in the tax department, they had justified that growth from foreign remittances and investments from abroad. Now, for taxation purposes, we had a law in Pakistan which was made by, no surprises, Shehbaz Sharif brother Nawaz Sharif, which exempts any sorts of questions being asked if your wealth is coming from abroad.
From overseas, that's right, yeah.
No, so that was the general principle. But that exemption is not if it is based upon fraud or any crime. So when the investigators look into those remittances and the in-depth analysis of the remittances, it turned out that all those remittances, which are called TT, telegraphic transfer, they were actually on fake identifications. And for example, there were people who had sent money supposedly from England or from UAE or from China or God knows America or wherever, that they actually had never traveled abroad themselves. So their identification was used as the sender. So there was this, one person who actually used to sell papadums on the street. he was sending each TT transfer of $50,000 or $100,000 or $200,000
while living in Pakistan.
and selling poppadoms. So, so those were. I mean, I think this was it was a bit ironic because when these people were summoned by NAB and questioned, they said, "Oh, we've never been abroad. We actually don't even have a passport," and they did not know that
And they
someone.
didn't even know about this transaction.
No, they did not know. And we had on paper son of Shahbaz Sharif, Salman Shahbaz, who was receiving some of the funds, or Hamza Shahbaz receiving funds in his account, because you have to countersign. So when a foreign telegraphic transfer comes into your account, the recipient has to countersign saying, yes, this is for the purpose as it is being said. So all these things were there. And this was a very strong case. And about, I think, 10 or 12 witnesses had been produced in this case when the table turned.
They're down the drain now.
Oh, honorably acquitted. Not just acquitted, honorably acquitted after he became Prime Minister.
Well, the strange world of Pakistani politics, I'll say. You have been a fabled and a famous prosecutor for NAB, an overseas Pakistani, highly educated, intelligent man of great integrity. You must be feeling a tad disappointed that what happened to Imran Khan and what happened to Pakistan. I would like you to give a personal message to our audience and to what do you think the future of Pakistan is and how accountability can actually drive it to the right direction.
I think in terms of what happens to you personally, that's not important, because when you're trying to work for a cause, good things can happen to you or bad things can happen to you. What I really want to say, and I think it's kind of a wish or prayer, that I really hope, and that is the only hope for Pakistan, is that Imran succeeds in his mission for real freedom of Pakistan. And real freedom of Pakistan means that we put in system in place where we are free from any interference of any institution, and Pakistani democracy and country government can flourish organically, where people who vote, their votes are not stolen, their mandate is not stolen, where the institutions are working independently, and then we put on right path. Then after that, people are at freedom, at liberty to choose whoever rules them. So they can choose to, for PTI or Imran Khan to rule, PMLN, or whatever new parties come into form, or PVP. It's their choice. But there should be no interference and political engineering. That's my only hope and message, that we all need to work towards that goal. Be us, be overseas Pakistanis or, Pakistanis themselves. This is what we actually all want. And I think, but being an overseas Pakistani myself now, and I come across overseas Pakistanis every day, and this is the reason. This is the only reason I've seen every overseas Pakistani for right now standing with Imran Khan or PTI. I mean, Imran Khan and PTI has been there for the last 25 years, but now the reason 99% of overseas Pakistani, not just in Britain, stand with Imran Khan is for this reason, what I'm saying.
Well, thank you very much, Barrister Shahzad Akbar. You've been very candid and very patient, and I'm happy that you gave a very direct and very open question. So, with that, we say thank you very much to our audience. You heard, as they say, from the horse's mouth, what happened in the accountability drive in Pakistan. We do not agree with all the comments of opinion made by Barrister Shahzad Akbar, but we could see that there is a gentleman who definitely wanted to bring accountability and rule of law to Pakistan in light with the message of the then Prime Minister Imran Khan. And we hope that the normalcy, rule of law, prosperity, and peace returns to Pakistan. And with that, we say thank you very much. Until my next program, I'm Sohail Qureshi on my program Sharp Edge from our London studios. And goodbye.